you're about to hear something that might irritate you a little, and that's exactly why you need to hear it. Somewhere out there, the person you keep calling your future is struggling right now. And a part of it traces back to you. Not because you did something terrible, not because you're toxic, but because of something far more subtle. Something most people never even realize they're doing. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The way you show up in relationships doesn't just affect you. It quietly shapes the emotional reality of the person connected to you. Even before you meet them. Sounds strange, right? Stay with me. You've probably been in a situation where someone pulled away, and you couldn't figure out why. Everything seemed fine. Texts were normal. Conversations were decent. But something felt off. And then suddenly, distance. Now flip that perspective. What if you've been the one creating that exact feeling, without realizing it? Because most guys miss this one pattern. It's not what you say. It's not even what you do. It's the energy you carry when you don't feel enough. Let me explain. When you're constantly seeking validation, even subtly, it changes how you communicate. Your texts become slightly longer, slightly faster. You double-check your words. You hesitate before sending. You reread her replies more than you'd admit. And she feels that. Not consciously, but emotionally. Maybe you didn't notice, but women are incredibly sensitive to emotional pressure. Not the obvious kind, the invisible kind. The kind that says, I need you to respond a certain way so I can feel okay. And that pressure? It's heavy. Imagine her sitting there reading your message. Not the words, but the intention behind them. There's a slight pause before she replies. Her breathing shifts just a little. She doesn't know why, but something feels like responsibility instead of connection. That's where the struggle begins. Because now she's not just talking to you, she's managing your emotional state. And that slowly drains attraction. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The more you try to do things right, the more unnatural it becomes. You start performing instead of expressing. You think you're being thoughtful, but it comes off as calculated. You think you're being consistent, but it feels predictable. And attraction, it doesn't grow in predictability. It grows in emotional freedom. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed how the people who seem the least attached often create the strongest reactions? It's not because they don't care. It's because they're not dependent. There's a difference. And this is where your soulmate is struggling. Because she's encountering versions of you that feel emotionally needy, even if you hide it well. Publicly, you might seem confident, relaxed, in control, but privately your texting patterns tell a different story. The timing, the tone, the subtle over-explaining, she picks up on it. And now she's conflicted. Part of her wants connection, but another part feels like she's stepping into a role she didn't sign up for. The role of emotional stabilizer. That's exhausting. So what does she do? She pulls back, just a little at first. Replies get shorter. Energy drops slightly. You feel it immediately. And here's the trap. You try harder. You send more. You explain more. You try to fix the vibe. But now you've entered a loop. The more you chase clarity, the more uncertain things become. And this is the moment most guys completely misread. They think she's losing interest, when in reality she's protecting her emotional space. Because deep down, she doesn't want to feel responsible for how you feel. Now here's the part nobody tells you. Your soulmate isn't struggling because she can't find you. She's struggling because when she does encounter you, or someone like you, it doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like weight. And attraction can't survive where there's weight. Let that sink in. This doesn't mean you need to become cold or detached. That's the mistake people make when they hear this. They swing to the opposite extreme. But emotional strength isn't about distance. It's about self-sufficiency. It's about being okay, whether she replies fast, slow, or not at all. It's about expressing interest, without needing a specific outcome. And here's where everything changes. When you stop needing her reaction, your behavior naturally shifts. Your texts become lighter. Your presence becomes calmer. Your energy feels safe, but not heavy. And suddenly, she relaxes. Because now she's not managing you. She's experiencing you. There's a massive difference. You've probably felt this yourself at some point. When you're around someone who isn't trying to impress you, but also isn't seeking anything from you, it feels easy, effortless, almost addictive. That's the energy you've been missing. And that's exactly what your soulmate has been craving, without even knowing it. Here's a small detail most people overlook. Watch how she breathes when she's around you. Seriously. If her breathing is shallow, slightly tense. If it's slow, relaxed, she feels safe. Not safe like comfort zone safe, but emotionally unburdened. That's attraction at a deeper level. So ask yourself this. Are you someone she has to emotionally take care of, or someone she can freely experience? Because the answer to that question determines everything. And here's the twist. This isn't about her at all. It's about you learning to regulate your own emotional state, so no one else has to do it for you. Once that happens, everything changes. Conversations flow differently. Attraction builds naturally. And the same person who once felt distant suddenly leans in. Not because you chased, but because you stopped needing to. And here's the part that might stay with you long after this video ends. Your soulmate isn't waiting for you to find her. She's waiting for you to become someone she doesn't feel responsible for. Once you notice these patterns in real life, you'll never see human behavior the same way again.